anything else is going on. Al Franken, who was the liberal lion in the Senate, could he be stepping down in a speech today? Brad Melke, ABC News correspondent. What's going on with Al Franken?
Well, the latest is Al Franken is set to make an announcement on the Senate floor when it opens for business in about 2 hours from now. It would be the earliest he could do that. It's still not clear what that announcement will be. His team will not say what his decision regarding his future is. However, multiple Democratic sources on Capitol Hill are certainly telling ABC News that they expect Franken to step down after this avalanche of calls for him to resign.
So what was the straw? Because they were originally defending him.
Well, that's right, and they were saying that this ethics investigation will play out. Well, then a seventh accuser came forward, this one an unnamed former Democratic aide who said that when she was near Al Franken's radio set back before he was a senator, that he tried to give her this unwanted kiss. And even she said that he's an entertainer, so it's his right to do so. That was the story she was telling Politico, and that was what drove Kirsten Gillibrand and a number of female Democratic senators to say enough is enough. And Kirsten Gillibrand actually said, yes, he has his right to an ethics panel investigation, but it was her opinion that the ethics committee in the Senate doesn't have the capability to actually give the accountability that the American people want. And she basically said, forget this investigation. I think he should go right now.
What's interesting about this latest one, because this latest one broke as we were going off the air yesterday, he either forgets and apologizes for the ones before. But isn't this the first one that he categorically denies ever happening?
Yeah, this was not a soft denial. This was not an I apologize if you were offended. This was him saying this is flat out untrue. And yet, it was believable enough to these primarily female Democratic senators at first who said, I'm sorry, this seems like it's part of a pattern. I believe, if not all, at least some of these women, and Al Franken doesn't have a place among us anymore. And there are questions about, what is crossing the line. And Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, again, in this press conference, said, we can talk about sexual assault, we can talk about sexual harassment, we can talk about groping. If you want to have the conversation about the distinctions in the Senate, you're having the wrong conversation. None of it belongs in our ranks.
Yeah, but how much of this is they're really standing up and quote-unquote doing the right thing, and how much of this is they need the moral high ground as they take on President Trump and Roy Moore?
Yeah, I think that's right, that they are seeing that Roy Moore is probably going to be elected in their eyes, that he will be among them, and to watch Republicans in their minds flip-flop from going, we don't want this guy with us because he suspected or he was accused of molesting a teenage girl and assaulting a 16-year-old waitress, that as Republicans have changed their story, Democrats are saying that's not sort of the operation we want to run. We want to be able to say, look what we did to our guy for something perhaps not as bad. You guys need to get your house in order.
Claire McCaskill was in that first set of four who sort of came out and started the ball rolling. She's up against quite a bit as she runs for re-election. It's going to look very easy for her to say, look, I told Al Franken to get out, and my opponent is supporting Roy Moore. That's not going to be a very, very good look going forward.
Well, and you could see the 2020 Democratic primary playing out, right? I mean, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Claire McCaskill, all these women that are favored to probably get in the race, at least there's a lot of buzz about that, were all sort of at the front of this call for Franken to step down. Elizabeth Warren, meanwhile, took her time, and you can imagine that in the progressive wing of the party, people are going to be judged, at least this is the thinking right now, on whether they were holding their male colleagues to account. And this is certainly a wedge issue that Democrats are trying to drive. Tom Perez, the head of the Democratic National Committee, he noted that Republicans are not just, in the RNC isn't just supporting Roy Moore, they're sending him money in the next week. So he said there are lots of differences between Democrats and Republicans. This is just one of them.
Brad Melke, also, Al Franken was a bit of a star, right? He had panache. He could raise money. He was funny. He made the Democrats cool. This is going to be a hit for the Democrats.
Yeah, we talked so much in 2016 about how you wanted to have a likable guy with a Midwestern sensibility to really speak to some of these Democrats that were fleeing the party. Al Franken, in many circles, was considered that type of Democrat. And a lot of these men and women in the Senate had latched onto his coattails and were relying on him to go to some of their speaking engagements, to go to their fundraisers. But you're seeing this pushback right now, and you're seeing this moment of people sort of stopping and thinking, what is more worth it to me, to stick by this guy and perhaps get some political maneuvering out of it, or to perhaps be on the wrong side of history as we go through this Me Too year.
Brad Melke, ABC News correspondent. Have a good day, Brad.